Okay, channel, spring, and veranda straight drop awnings. That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, obviously, your channel roll-up awning is your, I guess, lower cost option to what we have now with our Evo awning. Evos are what we sell, I guess, a lot more of these days than any other particular awning. But the channel roll-up was an awning that came out prior to that, and it was a low cost. Didn't do all the things that the Evo would do, but it was spring operated. It worked in an extruded aluminium channel, and it would enable you to essentially close off an area with a straight drop spring-loaded awning in either a screen, a canvas, or an acrylic fabric. So channel roll-up, spring. The awning concept is the same. We've got our System 2000 spring that lives in the roller tube, which is always keeping that awning under tension, always wanting to pull back up. We use the same spring in these awnings that we do use in our automatic lock arm awnings as well. So the spring awning, in its own variety, is just fitted with the standard gold passivated universal awning bracket. Same bracket that you can use on your auto lock arm awnings when you don't want the head box. This is what you're using when you're getting spring operated straight drop awnings. This same bracket, when we move to our channel roll-up awning, this bracket is prefabricated, fitted to a channel, and obviously it comes to you painted the same colour as the channel. Now we have two standard stocked colours in the channel, which is white and primrose. You'll see shortly from what we're going to install here today that you can obviously get them powder coated to suit, and we'll be fitting one here today which has a black finish to it. So spring operated, this bracket, channel, this bracket pre-fitted to a piece of channel. As I said, the spring-loaded roller tube that we use for both these awnings in the channel roll-up will actually lock off at the stop indents that are prefabricated into this channel. So this is the standard channel roll-up channel, okay? And these indents are set 200 millimeters apart. Another key difference between channel roll-up and just your traditional and just your normal spring is that when you order spring in a channel roll-up assembly, you will have the 5-sided bottom rail fitted to the bottom of the fabric. It's the 5-sided bottom rail that will fit in here, and when the fabric pulls at a certain angle, we'll lock it off on those lugs. If you're just ordering a spring straight drop awning, you'll have a round roller tube as your bottom rail, and that will be inserted into a formed pocket. So, and there's some various hold-down methods for that, which we'll go through when we get through the slides a little bit further. So, stops at the 200 millimeter indents for the channel roll-up awning. As I said, the channel roll-up awning has the standard universal bracket mounted to it, but you can also, as another option, have a standard automatic lock arm awning hood fitted to it as well. When we fit this awning here behind me shortly, we're going to fit the awning as if it was facing inwards, so we can actually see the componentry and the brackets. With that standard automatic lock arm hood, that also faces in, so you need to be conscious of that as well. Great thing about the channel is it does have the fabric completely enclosed within the channel. Yes, the wind can blow the fabric out of the channel, but it's a lower cost awning, and the wind can also blow the fabric back into the channel. It doesn't seal off like a deep channel, or certainly doesn't seal off like an STC, but it can create a lower cost option that will do a similar job. As I said, fabrics on this product, canvas, acrylic, and obviously your Everscreen Plus sunscreen range. Measuring, really simple product to measure. Keep in mind always, guys, this is a product that is meant to be fitted within a reveal. The channel doesn't allow for face fit. Because we've got the 5-sided bottom rail, which needs to run up and down here, we can't have any screw heads on the back part of the channel that might impede the travel or the tilting of that 5-sided bottom rail. So in a reveal scenario, you just measure the inside opening and tell us the smallest opening width that you have. So measuring top, middle, bottom, give us the opening width, the smallest that you've measured. That's all you need to give us. If you're fitting this on face, and there'll be lots of opportunities or I guess occasions where you want to fit it on posts. When you're fitting on posts, our recommendation would be you'd measure from the middle of one post to the middle of the next post. We would suggest you took that measurement and you took 6 millimeters off. The reason for that is that we're going to supply you some angles, some 3 millimeter 50 by 50 angle, so that we're actually providing you an angle with the ability to side fix. So always an awning that is designed to be side fitted only. The drop, when you measure the drop for us, again, we've configured the product so that we're always presuming it's going to be in a reveal scenario. We will take off a 6 millimeter deduction. So you're going to give us, in a normal reveal scenario, your smallest width, your smallest drop. We'll make the deductions that we need to make. Keep in mind our drop deduction that we make will be 6 millimeters. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit this product, probably one of the simplest and quickest, easiest products to fit. I've already pre-fitted one of the channels in place because when you have this product, it'll come obviously knockdown form. You'll have 2 pieces of channel. You'll have obviously the fabric wrapped around a roller tube ready to go. And you're going to come along with the channel. I'm going to drill about a 5 millimeter hole, about 100 millimeters down from the top, 100 millimeters up from the bottom. And then every 600 millimeters, we're proposing that you have another fixing point to hold this channel in place. So, as I said, I've pre-fitted one of these ones here. We've aligned it to the wall here, or you'd align it to the post that you're fitting it to. Obviously, we'd recommend that you benchmark the levelness of that with a spirit level, drilling the holes and fitting the screws. I'm just going to quickly pop this one up. So we've got our 2 channels in place. And as I said, probably about 100 times, we use we've got a product installation house here with existing pre-used fittings. So we're not using the normal fittings that you would use if you were fitting this awning to someone's post or someone's home. And we'll talk through the recommended fittings in just a second. Okay, so I've got the 2 channels up there ready to come along with my awning and put that into position. Excuse me. If you're fitting to a timber post, our recommendation would be to use a 10 gauge, 38 millimeter long self-tapped flathead screw. For metal posts, again, self-tapping, 10 gauge, 25 mil long screws are certainly ample as far as holding that channel in position. Start with the top, start with the bottom, and then put the other intermediate screws down that channel. Obviously, same for both channels. Once the channels are fitted nice and firmly and securely and you're satisfied that they're in position and they're nice and firm, we bring the fabric roll along with the fabric on it. And you'll see here that we have the fabric here, we have our 5-sided bottom rail, and we have a spring living inside our roller tube, and we have a pawl here, this little silver locking lug, which we refer to as the pawl. It's important when we put this awning into the brackets, just like an automatic lock arm awning, that pawl is located at the bottom, not the top, but at the bottom. Because once we release the spring tension, we want the pawl not to lock back in. We want to keep it free running and always under that spring tension. Now what I'm going to do with these brackets, and I'll hold one of these up and show you in a second, there's a little black sleeve which is in the bracket when you get this assembly. Just pull those out, slide the awning in, and then we put those little black securing clips back into place. Yep, there we go. So we've got that awning in there like that. So now I want to pull that down. Just put that angle there, pop in my fabric. So what we've got there is we've got channels up, we've now got the awning sitting in place. Now, what I was talking to you about with the bracket, it'll come with this little black clip. Now, this little black clip, after you put the awning in place, it's just a little retaining clip which just slides and locks in. It just means that the awning can't lift up and come out. I mean, it's extremely unlikely that that could happen anyway, but obviously this little securing clip just makes sure that that can't come out. I'm just going to pop them into place. And that's it. So what I've now got is I've got a spring-operated awning, so always pulling up, always tensioned. The 5-sided bottom rail locks off and hits those 200mm located lugs to hold that awning in position. So you can see there's no fabric gap. Got good coverage as far as the fabric is concerned. And if I had a head box here, we'd have a head box just covering and giving you a bit of protection for that top roll of awning there. That's the channel roll up and the spring straight drop awning. Are there any questions on that, guys? Obviously, if you were using it as a spring awning, you'd need to have some hold down straps, some hold down options to hold that down. We're going to talk about some hold down options when we talk about our Veranda straight drop awning. They are the same options that you would have if this had been ordered as a Veranda, a spring straight drop with a round roller tube at the bottom. Any questions, comments before we move on to the traditional Veranda straight drop? No questions? All right, so I might just leave that one in the down position so we can actually now work on the next awning. Okay, Veranda straight drop. Very old style awning, timber headrail, cords, ropes and pulleys. So if you think of it like if you refer to it to our classic Roman shade, fabric wrapped around a headrail, coming down, cords lifting it in the case of the Veranda straight drop, ropes that are lifting the awning, and you have continuous rope or continuous cord, and you need to tie that off on cleats for child safety. So it's timber batten. Now we are going to fit one. This one here we're going to fit under the front of our house here, so it would be what we would call a ceiling fit. But it can be fitted along here. It can be fitted underneath. There's quite a few different scenarios where you could fit a Veranda straight drop. Can suit some really old style homes, Federation style homes, but it rolls up from the bottom. There's no spring. It's a totally manually operated product that requires a bit of jiggling with the rope to get it to roll up nice and evenly. If you were measuring for a Veranda straight drop in a reveal, you would need to consider some deductions, and we're suggesting that the deduction you would make is 35mm. Now, if you've got straps over the rollers, which means you've got straps that are going over the rollers, and Trevor, we were going to share some images, and I don't know whether we've actually able to share that. We are sharing that now. So straps over rollers means that the deduction I need to make is a little bit less because the standard is the straps at the end of the rollers. We have, I think the next image, which we should be able to share with you, just shows you those different fitting systems or fitting methods. So you can see the two images on the right there are your straps over roller, and your two images on the left are your straps fitted to the end of the roller. So you can see there with our standard why we need to have a bigger deduction made, because there is actually a metal eyelet attached to the end of the roller tube held down with a saddle and a dog clip. When we go over rollers, obviously we can get a little bit more out of fabric width. Now these hold down methods don't allow you to get that fabric or that roll all the way to the ground. And you can see here, the standard, if you're using the dog saddle, the dog clip I should say, you're going to have about 100 and 50mm opening. If you move away from that and just have the strap, you'll have about 100mm, and your straps over rollers will help you lower that gap a little bit more down to about 50mm. Ordering controls. Now, this is something, and this is on the ticker box order form that you have, and it's really something that you need to be mindful of, depending on how you're fitting. As I was saying before, and I pointed to the house, we're going to ceiling fit one of these awnings, but you can face fit it. You can partially face fit it. If you want to have the controls on the inside, you need to drop it down. Keep in mind that the size of that timber batten is always 19 by 68. And from what we're sharing to you on screen there, you can see ceiling fit, we're turning it and it would actually essentially lift the awning up. For face fit outside mount, obviously we're face fitting it, and the awning is essentially that little bit longer.
Now, this is the one that we're going to actually be fitting today, code CM. And what the factory actually does there is add some extra fabric onto the drop, because it knows you're going to be turning that top batten, which we're going to do in our install situations too. So that's why these codes are important, because if you put CM on, the factory knows to add that extra fabric.
Add the extra, yep.
Whereas if you look at the other one, codes where they're turned the other way, then of course they don't need to put quite as much fabric on there.
So you're going to tell us on your order form what fixing method you're choosing and then measure. And as Trevor said, the factory will then calculate the drop of the fabric to suit that install. So what we're going to do now, we're going to come along and we're going to install our Veranda straight drop. Now, this is going to be directly screwed through the timber batten. We're going into timber, we're going into the underside of our sort of makeshift roof structure here. So you'd normally use 10 gauge 50mm screws for that. Again, we're using some existing fittings that we've had pre-fitted into our house, so you wouldn't use those fittings. So you'd hold the awning up in position, mark where you're going to have your mounting points, and you would pre-drill those holes into the timber battens. And then you'd simply come along, and I might just get Trev to, okay. So you can see here, we've got pulleys, got a timber head rail. It's wrapped in canvas, so you're not actually seeing the timber. The end is wrapped, the head rail is wrapped. You can see the pulleys and you can see the rope. So we're ceiling fitting this, and we want our fabric facing outside. So this is giving us a ceiling fit with the controls on the inside. So Trev, I might just get you to hold that end. We've got 4 mounting screws for this awning. Sorry, Trev, I haven't given you... We will need longer screws on that. We probably should have popped these through to start with, because we've got canvas wrapped around the timber. You got yours through? Yep. Sort of. So enough. So we'll just line that up with our mounting positions. You right to do that, Trev, or do you want me to pop over and do that? Now, we would put more screws in here. We've just fitted one here and one here. We would put, obviously, 1 screw per batten in this scenario. But here you have a Veranda straight drop awning. Now, I mentioned to you when you're operating this awning that you do need to jiggle that rope. So when you sell this to a customer, it's important that they understand that it is an older style awning. There's nothing at the top that's helping the awning roll up. It is rolling up from the bottom. And the design of it means that you jiggle that rope to get that awning to roll up nice and neatly. And then you'll have that effect there. Now, cleats. It's an external product, but it is really important to, and this is what happens when we just put one rope in the cleat, one screw in the cleat. Obviously for child safety and, for the sake of keeping it tidy and neat, you want those cleats. You also need the cleats to hold the awning up. There's no cord lock or anything in here that's holding that awning up. It is held in position by tying the rope around those cleats. Now, again, canvas, acrylic, sunscreen fabric is an option for these, so you can certainly do that. Now, the cleats ideally should be set about 300 millimetres apart. So I know we've got them here probably set a little bit further than that, but 300 millimetres is ideal. Same scenario I think you should stick to if you were fitting an internal product. The bottom cleat would be minimum 1450 from the ground, if not 1600. Here we have straps, end of rollers. So these are metal strap adapters which are fitted to the end of the roller tube. Straps would come down and then you would secure that to the bottom. I'll just get Trev to actually share that next screen. There's just a couple of pictures here which talk about optional hold down methods. We looked at them earlier, but these are a little bit different because this is a round bottom tube for inside a formed pocket. So the standard, obviously what you see there on the left-hand side of the screen, that is the standard. We've got the metal saddle at the end of the roller tube. We have a strap, dog clip, and then a stainless steel saddle. But if you want to have those straps underneath the roller, you can call or ask for a breeching staple, which we will fit along the bottom of the roller tube. You could then do, as we looked at before, the strap over the roller, which is the an elongated hole made in the canvas with an elongated brass eyelet put there as well. They were held down by the same saddle and the dog clip, just in slightly different positions. When you're asking for straps over rollers, you actually need to tell us the distance that you want those positions for the straps to be. First one in 300 millimetres from the left, and the second one in 2600 from the left. You can't just say 300 mil each in from each side. We want to know the position from the left-hand side in. Keep in mind as well, when we talk awnings, all of these measurements and things are specified if you're outside looking in, because it is an external product. It's a really simple product, guys. There's nothing more that we were going to talk about or show you with this product. As I said, it can really suit certain styles of homes, old style Federation homes, keeping in mind that be very specific how and where you're mounting this product so that we can get the calculation correct in the drop of the fabric. That's the end of the session, guys. If there's any questions or comments, please flick them through now. Otherwise, we'll call the session to a close.